Yep, this is J Russ, that dad crypto. Shout out to PD724 for posting a video yesterday pointing out the fact that FedNow is just the account in which central bank digital currencies will be placed and easily accessed for us. So 3 days ago, the U.S. Treasury had a representative come out and say, when they were asked point blank about central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, asked when the United States was planning on coming out with them. And his response was that they weren't even certain that they were going to be pursuing CBDCs. But now, how the fuck you're not pursuing CBDCs when FedNow is where CBDCs are going to be held, and it's been publicly stated time and time again that FedNow is going to be available before the end of July, which is less, that's basically a month away or less. So why have FedNow come out in less than a month if you don't even know if you're pursuing CBDCs? Because you're full of shit. These guys are coming for all the money, all the power. There's just too many dots, and I'm not claiming to have all the dots connected perfectly and know everything, but let's talk about some of these dots. I posted a video a few weeks ago talking about my thoughts on the banks. I think that the Federal Reserve is raising interest rate hikes and trying to make things as painful as possible for these small banks without being blatantly obvious. I mean, for one, after the first bank went down, they said that they were putting together a backstop of an infinity amount of money, right? And that's how they left it. So everybody was like, okay, cool. That's how their banks are going to be fine. And then when they got put on the spot and asked about it in a public meeting, they said, well, it's only for the backstop is only for the banks that are systemically necessary. So, and then I don't remember what state it was. It was like a small state. Congressman from a small state was like, well, what about in my state of whatever state it was, or somewhere in the Midwest? And she was like, well, I mean, basically, nah, you're not covered. So basically, they have a backstop of infinity for the big banks, and that's it, right? Okay, so now every time they raise rates, it puts pressure on all the banks, and these little banks are crumbling. JP Morgan, one of the members of the biggest bank, also the original JP Morgan, helped set up the Federal Reserve in the first place back 100 years ago. And then in 2008, the Federal Reserve bailed out JP Morgan. So these banks and the Federal Reserve, they've been in each other's pockets. They've been at each other's get-togethers. They've been in each other's meetings. They don't give a shit about these little banks. And JP Morgan is buying up the little banks. Might have already said that, but shit, this is off the cuff. Okay, so we got that. And then now we got the United States SEC attacking the biggest crypto exchanges, which exchanges are not banks, but they're basically, it's how you get your money in from the bank to crypto. For most people starting out, you're not going on DEXs when you don't know what the hell you're doing when you first get into crypto. You're going on Coinbase. You're going on Binance if you're not in the United States. So they're going after these big, and so basically what they're trying to do, in my opinion, is bankrupt these big exchanges in crypto. I mean, they're not big in the grand scheme of things, but in crypto with our small market cap, I mean, that's as big as we got in terms of exchanges. They take those out, man, I bet you, if Coinbase ends up going under or filing bankruptcy, JP Morgan gonna gobble that shit up too. And then we got BlackRock filing an ETF. What does that mean? What does that mean? BlackRock manages $8 trillion. That's a lot of money. They manage the White House's funds. White House is a client of BlackRock. BlackRock runs shit. This application is just a formality. If you're new to this, a few years ago, there was a run on companies trying to get ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, and they all were denied. Spot traded. We have ETFs that aren't held Bitcoin backed, and those don't even fucking count. That's just a way to manipulate the price in a negative way. I'm talking about where the Bitcoin is actually held. Now, BlackRock just applied yesterday. What that means is they've been buying. that means that they are going to be the first spot Bitcoin ETF. That means that on all these dips, all this scary shit, these big banks are taking the money. They're buying Bitcoin. Tell me, what opportunity do you have to change your financial class? Real estate? The stock market? Like, what stock are you about to buy that's going to change where you're at in life financially? None, unless you get hella lucky, because you're not an accredited investor, most likely. What's an accredited investor? Those are the investors that get the opportunity to get in on the early shit, and they claim that they're protecting us. But no, what? Really? They're protecting people that, to be an accredited investor, you have to have $1 million net worth. If you're a single person, you have to make $200,000 a year on top of that net worth. If you're in a relationship and you file joint taxes with somebody, you got to have, between the two of you, $300,000 annual income and at least $1 million net worth to be an accredited investor and have those financial opportunities to make life-changing money in the stock market. Okay? What is going to happen when they get their hands on, I mean, they already are, but when they legally, like in a regulatory way, have control of the on-ramps of crypto, and they force you to be an accredited investor to get in on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies that they are in on. You can't do it. The opportunity that you have right now is not going to be there in the future at some point, most likely, unless some shit really changes. It's not going to be there. It's going to be gone. Then what are you going to do? How are you going to change your life? I mean, FedNow's coming out next month. CBDCs are coming out shortly after, guaranteed. And then now we got programmable money, and now they're controlling the money in a digital way. They're even having meetings talking about putting an expiration date. They're talking about having a universal basic income. Thanks for hanging in there on this rant. They're talking about having a universal basic income, right? Which is checks coming out most likely on a monthly basis, maybe every 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't know how much. I don't know how often, but they're talking about doing it because the AI is the future, right? AI, they're planning on having taken jobs. By 2030, AI is going to be running shit in terms of jobs. And so to keep the people happy, they're going to give us universal basic income. But they're talking about putting the expiration date on the universal basic income. So now, if you're in a position where you need a universal basic income to get by, right? And the shit expires, you can't save because it'll be gone if you don't spend it. Now, they're also, if they want to, now that the money's programmable, they could prevent you from buying certain things. So whatever vehicle, shit, as much as they're attacking crypto just for being an opportunity, you think they're not going to prevent you from being able to spend the money they're giving you on whatever opportunities happen to arise in the future? Once universal basic income comes out and you're dependent on that shit and you need them for that shit, you're done. If you're not in crypto before you stop having the opportunity to be in crypto, that might be a wrap for you in terms of having it's the easiest road to change your financial future. I am worried. So what I've been saying is, don't go all in, and I'm still saying that, because this might not even happen, and if it does happen, it might not happen for a year or two. But I am starting to become worried that it's going to happen before the next bull run, because Bitcoin goes in 4-year cycles, right? So right now is not the bull run, clearly, but also it's not really coming that soon. Like next year, I want to say March is when the halving is. So we'll probably have a little mini run up to the halving and then another dump. But then the real bull run, probably not till next summer. So we're still a year away. FedNow comes out next month, and we're still a year away from the real bull run. What if you lose access to buy crypto before the bull run hits because you're waiting for the bull run? I'm not telling you to go all in. Don't blame me if the shit goes sideways if you go all in. But what I'm saying is, I am worried that people are going to lose the opportunity that's in front of them. That's what I'm worried about. They want all the power. They're going for everything. This shit is so damn centralized, man. All right, I'm at 10 minutes. Check out my video on banking if you want more in-depth detail on what I thought about that from a few weeks ago. This J Russ, That Dad Crypto. Hoping this video hits right when you see it, man, because this shit, they are really going for it. Like, I might be wrong on some things, but the general theme is they're going for all this shit. They're trying to take the opportunity away. They don't like the opportunity that we have right now. They are buying Bitcoin. The biggest asset manager on the planet has to have Bitcoin, like a lot of it, if they're about to be having a Bitcoin ETF. Look back for the last few years, all the big banks are in on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm not a big lover of Ethereum, but they're in on that shit. Okay? They just are. Do your research. Look it up. They're all this scary shit going on, but they're all buying. They're just creating opportunities to buy in lower from scared people. So, man, when I first got in on this, I planned on doing all these tutorials, man. I didn't know my shit was going to go like this. But I'm really worried, man. I don't like this shit. But all right, this is J Russ, That Dad Crypto. I'm out.